Thank you all for joining me for this press conference this afternoon, the purpose of which is to discuss the Athens-Clarke County Police Department's investigation of the tragic shooting death of Miss Auriel Callaway and to announce the arrest of the person responsible for the shooting incident. Let me begin by offering my condolences to the family members and friends of Miss Callaway. I cannot imagine the grief and the pain that they must feel with such a great loss. Please know that the police department and we as a community share in your loss and will keep you in our thoughts and our prayers. As we reported earlier, on July 22nd at approximately 9:45 p.m., Miss Callaway was standing outside the 100 building in the Clark Gardens apartment complex with her young son when a fight broke out between neighborhood youth. The fight escalated into gunfire, and Miss Callaway, who was an innocent bystander, was struck by a bullet while attempting to move her young child to safety. Athens-Clarke County Police Department officers arrived to a chaotic scene and began performing life-saving procedures on Miss Callaway. Emergency medical services personnel arrived and transported Miss Callaway to a local area hospital where she was pronounced deceased. Miss Callaway was pregnant at the time of the shooting, and tragically, the unborn child also did not survive. I cannot think of a more tragic circumstance than for an innocent young mother to be gunned down in front of her residence while her young child looked on. Given these circumstances, all our investigative resources and tools were brought to bear to identify and apprehend the individual responsible for this careless and senseless act of violence. The department also sought input and information from the community in solving this crime. Information provided by the community was instrumental in helping the department piece together exactly what occurred and the individual responsible. Thanks to their assistance, a number of leads were developed that helped to quickly close this investigation. Early on in the investigation, Kraisha Cooper was identified as the shooter. Cooper, a 27-year-old Athens-Clarke County resident, was located by investigators on the evening of July 24th in Cobb County. Cooper was transported to the Athens-Clarke County Jail, where she was booked on one count of aggravated assault and one count of felony murder. Additional charges are expected against Ms. Cooper. The investigation is continuing in an effort to identify other individuals connected to this incident. We believe that bystanders may have witnessed and possibly recorded the incident, and we ask that anyone who has information please contact our detectives. In closing, I want to stress that acts of senseless violence in our community simply will not be tolerated. This reckless act took the life of a young mother in her prime, as well as an unborn child. At this time, I will take a few questions. Just bear in mind that this continues to be an ongoing investigation.
Has the gun been recovered?
I don't want to talk about the evidence that we have in this case, but our investigators have followed all leads, and we do feel like we have a strong case to convict the individual responsible.
Does Ms. Cooper live in that complex? What was she doing there?
I believe she does live there in the complex, yes.
What caused the fight that night?
There's still an ongoing investigation, and these were young people with probably very little reason to fight. We're still looking into the exact cause of it.
Chief, why is it that you believe there's video? Is there anything on social media, or are you just that from witnesses?
So we have talked to witnesses. We have located some video, but we believe that other people were or may have filmed part of the fight and or the shooting incident, and we'd ask that anyone that does have any information related to this incident, please come forward and talk to our detectives.
As we stand here and watch this mother in this pain, I mean, what message do you want to send to young people about just how this went so chaotically crazy so fast?
Senseless acts of violence are just not necessary. This all began with kids fighting, and before you know it, you have a young lady who's in her prime and her unborn child who, are taken away from us. So, I think people have got to stress the need to think before they act and to stop the violence.
And you may not know this, because I know the mugshot came from the jail, but people are asking, was she smirking in that mugshot? Was that yesterday, or was that from a previous charge?
I don't want to comment on the mugshot. I've been so busy working on other aspects that I haven't even seen it, so I can't comment on the
Can you
mugshot.
tell us the circumstances of her arrest, how she was arrested, whether it was a traffic stop, they went into a motel room, or what?
Our officers were able to track her to a location in Cobb County, and they placed her under arrest. Beyond that, I don't want to get into how we located her there. I can tell you that from the beginning of our investigation in this case, we had an unprecedented amount of support and involvement from the community to help us, number one, understand who did this, and then to help us understand where that individual was at so that we could take that person into custody.
Can you tell us if other people were shooting?
There was more than one shooter, but we are confident with the evidence that we have that the individual responsible for this death of Miss Callaway was Miss Cooper.
Have you arrested her before?
She has a minor criminal history record, but nothing serious. Okay?
So would there be more risk of the other people participating in this fight, like the other shooter? If they are sworn, they won't be charged.
Our intention is to identify every individual that played a part in this and any criminal act that they participated in to try to have them charged and prosecuted to the fullest. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
Chief, was this gang related?
There's nothing that suggests that this was gang related. That's not anything. We didn't get any evidence to suggest that it's gang related. Okay. I'll
So
tell
were
you.
these group of kids, I mean, under a certain age that were just fighting like probably kids usually do? And did adults get involved? How did this get out of hand like this?
So I don't know the exact ages of the kids. I would put them in their teens. And what I can say is that, shoving or talking back and forth is one thing, but what I saw went beyond that. And yes, obviously, adults did get involved, and that's when the gunplay took place. I'll take one more question.
You said what you saw, does that mean you saw video of the fight?
As I explained earlier, there is some video of the fight, yes.
Did anyone in the family would like the same thing?
First of all, we just want to thank the Addison Clark County Police Department for a swift investigation and trying to bring this to a close. But we understand that this investigation is still going on. It's going to be a continual ongoing investigation. So we would just like to ask the public, anyone out that has any more information that could assist them in their investigation to help progress this investigation along, please reveal the information to the police department. In this world of social media, everybody has a phone, everything you see, everybody recording everything. So there has to be some type of more video to help them with this evidence and this whole investigation. So we just like to ask the public if you have any information that can assist them to continue this investigation to try to bring it to a swift closure. We would like you to provide the information to the police department.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
A lot of people know you from what you do for a living.
Yes, ma'am.
We all know that this violence with young people and adults is getting out of hand. Can you just talk a little bit about how this hits home for you? This is your family, this is your community you work in, you live in.
Being a product of Athens, Georgia, growing up on the east side, by Nellie, it hits home because growing up, you see all the changes, all the stuff that's happening in Athens, all the violence going on, not only in the world, but just here in our community. So it hurts to see this environment turn into what it is. So we just like, we can just come together as not as a world, just as a unit. We got to start somewhere. So we want to start at home first. If we can start at home, just try to stop the violence at home, then maybe it'll trickle out throughout the country, throughout the nation, you know, it's gonna be a long process, but if we could just start here at home in Athens first to try to just stop the violence and just get along with everybody. Because a lot of the stuff that happened is really senseless and uncalled for and could be avoided, you know, so we just want to try to, you know, just start somewhere and just kind of stop the violence and just get along with everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.